Thank y'all for having me. It's been a real treat watching the videos and seeing the family type atmosphere that this company kind of projects and produces. So before I get started, I'd like to do one thing, if you'll accommodate me. If the veterans, past and present, could stand up and be recognized as well, it's something I'd like to do. So. Let's kick this horse. I'll get up here and tell you a little bit about myself, what I did for a living, how I got to where I was going. We'll talk about Operation Red Wing for a little bit. There's a lot of books and movies and stuff out about that particular day, so I try and touch on some of the stuff that didn't make it into all of that, all right? And then I'll get on about my way. Sound good? I'm not a motivational speaker by the natural definition of the word. I mean, I'm not here to sell you a book or a t-shirt. I don't know if I'm here to change your life. Basically, I'll get up here, I'll kind of give you an insight into my life, and if you take something away from it, then I'm glad I can help you. If you don't, then sorry. Basically what happens when people bring me in is to put a perspective on what a bad day really is, okay? And how you can get through it. Because I'll be the first person to tell you, I was never the best at anything growing up, all right? I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the fastest, the smartest guy. I wasn't the weakest link in the chain, but I wasn't the strongest link in the chain. I was just a link, all right? Individual kind of sports and stuff like that didn't really appeal to me. I have an identical twin brother. He's actually 7 minutes older than me, so he's the older brother. Any twins in here, you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, he's the dominant. He's actually the alpha of the two of us. I mean, even today, he still opens his presents before I do, and he makes this kind of... It's a little weird, but his whole philosophy on everything is, back in the day, he'd have been king, right? So he comes up with all these great ideas, and the way it worked is I usually had to go first. And if I made it through there with little to no damage, then it was a great idea. If I came out of there missing some blood, dragging a leg and stuff like that, he's like, well, we need to rethink this. So think about that growing up. Just to back it up a little bit, I'm a Texas boy, 5th generation, man, proud of it. I mean,
Go Bearcats!
Old Red River runs in my veins, man. So it's customary in my family for all the men to serve in the military. All right, generations back. You didn't have to serve in any particular branch in the military, you just had to give service. I heard my granddaddy say this while I was on the porch with him, and then my father would say it as well. He'd always say, before you exploit this country, son, you're going to serve her in some form or fashion. I didn't have any idea what that meant when I was a boy. Obviously now, being a grown man, I understand what that means. Back then, no idea. So, the way it happened was, the way I became, or got the idea to become a Navy SEAL, was my brother came running down to the barn. I was down there feeding the horses. He's like, hey, I know what we're going to do, man. We're going to be Navy SEALs. It's going to be great. We get to jump out of airplanes, shoot guns, blow stuff up, and there's a 50% chance we're going to die. And I was like, sign me up. Because my brother and I have a couple sayings. One's from the womb to the tomb. We came into this world together, and we're going to leave it together. My brother and I are absolutely inseparable. My father made sure of that. He would always tell us, he's like, hey, look, your mother and I are going to be here much longer, all right? Women will come and go, your friends will come and go, your brother will be here for you no matter what. You can always count on him. So, to give you a little background on my father, we weren't friends, okay? My father and I did not hang out. Matter of fact, when I addressed him proper. It was father or sir, usually sir. And he made it real clear to my brother and I as we were growing up. He's like, look, I don't owe you anything. All right, I brought you into this world. You're welcome. And he goes, I'm going to put a roof on your head, over your head, a shirt on your back, and food in your belly. He goes, look, your whole life, as you grow up from a boy into a man, I'm going to give you discipline every day of your life. And through discipline, you're going to gain respect. Respect for yourself and respect for other people. The only time you'll ever lose your respect is when you lose your discipline. You're the only one that can throw that away. You know, my family, discipline hurt, man. It was one of them old school kind of families. They come home at the end of the day, he toss us a book, and he's like, I know you did something. Just because I didn't catch you doesn't mean you didn't do it. You're going to pay. He would always tell us, like, hey, look, my shoes are here for you to walk in every now and again if you stumble. They're not here for you to fill. Because as men and women, we all fall. That's the beauty about being human. That's what makes you better than the guy next to you, is when you fall, is whether or not you're going to get back up. People who don't get back up, I mean, I don't understand it. All you gotta do is lace up your boots a little bit tighter and shake it off and go as hard in the paint as you possibly can, because life's real short. I was fortunate enough in my life, there's an old saying, it's a Texas deal or a Southern deal, he goes, a good man will raise his son, a great man will help raise others. I was fortunate enough in my life to have that. There was 4 or 5 men in my life that every day gave me the knowledge and the wherewithal, the integrity, so that I could develop my own honor to be the man that I was destined to become. Because I never isolated myself just to hanging out with one group or one class of people. I stole as much knowledge as I possibly could from everybody around me. So the way we got into this whole SEAL program, like I said, I was down the barn feeding the horses. Mort came running down there. He's like, hey, we're going to be Navy SEALs. And I was like, all right, great. And down the way from us was a guy who trained people to go into the Special Forces. Those of you from small towns, you'll appreciate this one. He was our town psychopath. You know, every town has one of them. He's the guy that wear the sweatpants in the wintertime, or the summertime, and the shorts in the wintertime, the rubber boots that didn't match. That was him. Billy Shelton was his name. And he had an impeccable record of training boys into men to go into the Special Forces. And that wasn't a regimental schoolhouse. You didn't pay money. You didn't sign any waivers. There was no desks or anything like that. You just showed up and you put out. And if you stuck it out, ordinarily you're making where you want to go. Today he has multiple SEALs, multiple Green Berets, Rangers, Marines, all across the board. So we showed up over there to ask him to train us. I'll never forget it. Our father took us over there, dropped us off, caught him during dinner time. He had a piece of fried chicken in his hand. He's like, what do you want? And he was a giant of a man to me back then. I actually didn't start growing until I was in my 20s. Tried checking into college, being like that. I mean, I graduated, I found my driver's license the other day, and when I was 18, I was 5'6", 154 pounds. So, I always ran on that whole concept that dynamite runs in small packages. But I just didn't have the body for it, I always had the mind for it. Well, we were like, sir, we want to be Navy SEALs, we heard you train people to do that, we just wanted you to train us. He looked at us like 4:30 tomorrow, and he slammed the door in our face. So we backed out of there, and the next day we come running up at 4:30, hauling the mail, and he was waiting on us. And as we were running to the yard, you saw him, he was pointing at us and at his watch and at the ground, at us, at the watch. And as soon as we got to the yard, you realize the only thing coming out of his mouth was profanity. That was it. I mean, he was cussing us up one side and down the other. You can use your imagination. I don't use profanity in front of women, but I've been a SEAL for almost 18 years, and I still haven't been cussed like that. And he stopped us dead in the street. He took his boot heel and he drew a line in the dirt right in front of us. He's like, every day you come here, I'm going to draw a line in front of you and ask you to cross it. Being in the Special Forces, a voluntary program, you can quit anytime you want. Quit right now. You should quit right now. You quit while I'm training, quit while you're going through SEAL training as a Navy SEAL in combat. You don't want to do that job anymore, you raise your hand, you say it's over, I'm done. And that's the truth. He said, you cross this line, I'm going to do everything I can to break you. I'm going to beat you, mentally, physically, and emotionally. He's like, you're going to suffer here. I ain't your mama. I don't care whether you live or die. He said when a man goes to war, his brain turns to water and runs out of his ears. And all he has to go on is instinct and the guy to the right and the left of it. He's like, you want some of this, boy? Cross the line. And at 14, I mean, you think you're invincible, right? I mean, you still bounce when you fall, your bones heal up the way it's supposed to. You don't make that ridiculous noise when you bend over to pick something up. That's how you know when you get old, man, when you make that noise. I mean, 'cause back in them days, you could fall off a building or get hit by a car and get up and shake it off. I can't even sit down without throwing the muscle out of whack these days, man. It's kind of ridiculous, but pride keeps me going, I guess. So, this was my first life lesson with Billy. This is the first thing he ever taught me, and it stands true to this very day. All right? When we crossed that line, he's like, everybody on your faces. Give me 300 push-ups for being late. And that's not a lot of push-ups, but if you got some guys who aren't in shape, you're going to be paying the man. And my first life lesson with Billy was, if I tell you to be somewhere at a certain time, you're always 15 minutes early, not at 4:30. 15 minutes early is on time, and everybody in here knows what I'm talking about. Everything changes, always changes, usually changes overnight. Leave work at the end of the day, you come in the next morning, you're like, guess what, turn 2, overnight, this is what happened. If you're that person that always comes in the door at 4:30, you're the weakest link in the chain. You're a problem. You're actually a cancer. In our community, you'll get somebody killed. I don't show up on time, the brief goes down, whatever it is, we go out and assault the target, and I didn't get the new word. I was supposed to go left instead of right. I was supposed to go up the stairs instead of into the backyard, whatever it was. And my buddy gets his head blown off his neck, well then that's on me. And when people die, it doesn't stop right there, it's a ripple effect, because they got family members who love them, mothers and brothers and sisters and all that. And if I'm any kind of man, I'm going to be like, hey, your boy died because I couldn't be on time. I don't know what I was doing, can't even remember. Watching TV, reading a magazine, but he's dead, and I can't change that. There's absolutely no reason why you should ever be late to anything unless you are dead. And if you're dead, somebody will check in for you, you can guarantee that. So we started pushing the deck, and we get to about 100 or something. And eventually what happened was we started to teeter-totter. Some of us were going down while the rest of us were coming up. And he goes, stop what you're doing. He goes, as a team, you're going to go down together and you're going to come up together. You're going to live together, you're going to die together. You're not a team. Start over. Start over, start pushing them out again, get to whatever number it was. Started to teeter-totter. He's like, I guess you didn't hear what I said. I said you're going to go down together and come up together, live together and die together. You're not a damn team. Start over. And if it wasn't that phrase coming out of his mouth, the only other thing was profanity. And he was hitting us with the hose and cussing us and kicking us, whole 9 yards. About a couple hours go by, we're trying to mash these push-ups out. We get to about 1. We're all doing the chicken neck and the one-arm dip and the mountain climber. He got so sick and tired of us, he's like, look, get off my property. You're a disgrace. He used to grade us with percentages. He's like, I won't even get into all that. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but he's like, leave, go home. And when you get home, I want you to walk right up to your daddy and punch him in the mouth and tell him to start over because he screwed up on you. He goes, as we were running out of there, he was saying, if you want to do this again tomorrow, show up on time. Don't ever waste my time. It's the only thing I can't control. That was a big life lesson he taught us. It was like, always wear a watch. He's like, the one thing I can't control is time. And I'm not going to waste 1 second of it on you. He goes, because there's one certainty in this world for all of us. We're all going to die eventually. You can sidestep and prolong it, do whatever it is you think you want to do to get around it, but eventually the Reaper's going to show up to the door. And once you accept the fact that you're going to die, you'd be surprised how much life you could actually live. Don't ever fear death, it's coming. Just put it off to the side. So I showed up the next day on time. And I did that from the time I was 14 years old to the time I finished college. I was never late again, not one time, not ever. And as I grew from a boy into a young man, into an adult, to a grown man, I was 18 years old, I was a grown man. And my body changed and I got stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, all that. Everything he did to us evolved and changed as well. I remember one of the last workouts I was doing with him, you think last workout was going to be a cake and a hug and like, I'm so proud of you, go do your deal. That ain't how that goes down. So, every couple weeks he'd have us running down the freeway, we'd carry a telephone pole and he'd follow us in his vehicle. And we'd drop the pole on this kid's head, split his head open and he rolled down in the ditch. So we went down there to pick him up and put the log down and Billy got out screaming and yelling at us. We were supposed to keep that log up and pick that kid up. So he's like, get in the lean and rest, get in the push-up position, and pay attention. He's like, open your mouth and shut your mouth and open your ears. He's like, got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Close 1 and open 2. He's like, I'm going to tell you something I ain't never told you before. I'm going to tell you why I do the things that I do to you, so listen up. He goes, I sit up at night and think of sadistic things to throw at you. I purposely do things to you that I know you can't pass. He's like, you ain't the Hulk. That's what he always tells us. He's like, you're a human being, you're weak. You bleed just like everybody else. He's like, I'm waiting to see when I hit you, no matter how hard I hit you. If I hit you, knock you stupid. If I hit you, knock you down. If I hit you and knock you out. When you come to, when you shake it off, if you come at me like a rampaging beast, or if you quit. Because if you quit right here, you'll be a quitter for the rest of your life. Go home and brush your teeth with a pistol. That's what he tells us. 14, I don't know he says that, but. I took all the knowledge, everything he ever gave me, and all the men in my life and the women in my life gave me, and left and joined the military. I joined the Navy. For those of you who aren't familiar, Navy stands for Never Again Volunteer Yourself. Because when I got in there, I was like, wait a minute, man. I don't want to be in the regular Navy, which there's nothing wrong with being in the regular Navy. I just knew what I was born to do. I wasn't a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, a Wall Street guy, a teacher, anything like that. I'm a gunfighter. Plain and simple, man. I don't ever make any apologies for that. Just plain and simple, that's what I am. So I had to pass a series of tests to qualify to go to a school to become a Navy SEAL. And that school is referred to as BUDS training. It stands for Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training. Any man and every man on this planet who's a Navy SEAL has to go through that schoolhouse. It's in sunny Coronado, California. I'm sure there's some people out here who know a Navy SEAL. You know, some guy got a job at your place, he's a SEAL, he said he was. Your neighbor said he's a Navy SEAL. If he didn't go to school out there, he's lying to you, all right? You need to fire him, quit hanging out with him, or call me up and I'll burn his damn house down for you. So, I'll talk briefly about BUDS training. It's one of those kind of deals where I hated every second of it, so I really don't even like to remember it. But it's 3 phases. First phase, second phase, and third phase, all right? First phase, 12, 13 weeks. You think I should know that since I'm a SEAL and I get up and talk about it, but it's been a long time. First phase is just a gut check, all right? It's a beat down of mental and physical torture. Make sure you have what it takes to go into follow-on training. Second phase is our dive phase. What separates us from the other special forces is our ability to work underwater. Over 73% of the globe's covered in it. We can be anywhere on it 24 hours. That's our little mantra. I was actually a scuba diver before I got into the SEAL teams. I'm sure there's some divers out here, you know what I'm talking about. 60 feet, 60 minutes, looking at the pretty blue water and the fish. You probably got somebody right there beside you that you can see. Everything's hunky-dory. A normal dive for us is usually 4 to 6 hours. That's in the pitch black water, can't see your hand in front of your face kind of deal. My longest dive while I was in the SEAL teams was 10 hours and 47 minutes. I actually fell asleep and woke up underwater twice. Don't ever do that. I know there's some guys in here who be like, oh, I'm gonna try that one. Yeah, don't do that. All right. But I always knew in the back of my head I was probably gonna go to hell for some of the stuff I did. And you think, you know, growing up, hell's hot. It's not, it's cold water. And when we woke up, I was like, hey bro, we're dead, man. So, and I'm not unique in anything I'm fixing to tell you. All the guys I go through this, in the community that I was a part of go through all of this. So we lose more people in second phase than any other phase because being underwater is unnatural for people and people die. Actually, more people die in our training than they do in combat. That's a little hidden gem we keep for you guys. After second phase, third phase, weapons and demolition. It's another 11 weeks. Pistols, rifles, rockets. If there's a weapon system on this planet that this country operates and maintains, we can use it. And anything our enemy uses, we can operate and maintain it. And then we graduate. Now when I started training day one, week one, minute one, there was 164 men in my class from all walks of life. Country boys, city boys, collegiate athletes, doctors, lawyers, Harvard grads, Yale grads. I mean, you name it. Anybody and everybody who wants to kind of beat on their chest shows up here. It's a melting pot. 164 men on that first day. When we graduated, there was 10 men left. My brother had 254 guys in his BUDS class, and he graduated with 16 guys. So that gives you an idea of the attrition rate. And what this school does is it forms a bond tighter than any blood bond you'll have with anybody, period. I mean, sometimes I'll point people out in the audience, hey, is this your friend? You know, yeah. I'm like, why? Why is he or she your friend? Why do you hang out with him? Well, you know, man, we watch football, we kind of worked out. I was like, you been in a tight spot with him? You ever been with him when everything fell apart, when you slipped into the bite? I'm not even talking about it, blood's flowing yet. I'm just talking about it getting uncomfortable. Well, they sit there looking at you going, man, this is pretty bad, but I ain't going anywhere. Because that's your friend. I'm talking about the guys you don't call up to borrow sugar. I'm talking about the guys you call up and say, I got a body in the trunk, I need a damn shovel. Because the time we go into this training, the time you step across that quarter deck, they take everything you ever were away from you. They rip it away. And the way they do that is chaos and pain. Life is pain. Everybody in here knows that. Because the guys we go through that training with, we go to follow-on training and into the SEAL teams that we deploy. Regardless if there's a war on or not, there's idiots everywhere we got to go take care of. So we stay pretty busy. I got on the hook for Afghanistan in 05. I was already in the jungle and the cities, a couple places fighting. I hadn't been to Afghanistan yet. When I got there, I saw my brother. He had been there, and I slapped him high five, and he's like, hey, you know, don't go easy if it goes down. I was like, I won't. So my primary mission set in Afghanistan was I was on a special reconnaissance team. And basically what that means is there's a 4-man element, 4 men. They would slip us in under the cover of darkness, okay? We'd free fall out of an airplane, fast rope out of a helicopter, go in on a horseback Humvee, or just throw our boots on and sneak into the mountains as deep as we could go for weeks. Tracking down one guy, the head of the snake. We don't go after militias and armies and stuff like that. That's what the Corps does, the Army. They do that real well. We go after one guy. And we find him, sneak into his backyard and set up shop and watch him anywhere from 6 to 10 days, taking video, taking notes, gaining intel, learning anything and everything I could possibly learn about this joker that I didn't already know. And at the end of that, we get the green light, I need to kill him, or we go down there and we snatch him out of there and I interrogate him. Whatever I got out of him, I go do something else. And that's how that wheel rolled. And we were doing it for about 3 months when Red Wing came down the pipe. And it was business as usual, really. We were going after a guy by the name of Ahmad Shah, high-ranking individual, and had his own militia at his disposal, kind of deal. He called themselves the Mountain Tigers. I was like, what? Mountain Tigers. Let me give you a little insight onto how military call signs and nicknames work, okay? It starts with the flyboys, our jet jocks, jet pilots, all right? The cooler, the better your call sign is. So if you got a call sign like Iceman or Laser Beam, you're an idiot, okay? Because you don't get to pick your own nickname. Your buddies give you that. So if you hear something like that, you're like, this guy's a turd, man. I ain't even gonna hang out with him, dude. If you got some guy with a nickname like, or call sign like Outhouse or Crackwater, that's your dude right there, man. You're like, come on, brother, we need to go. Because you know he's going to be there. Well, they dropped us in. They dropped us into the mountains, and we dropped it 9,000 plus feet into a snowbank. For those of you who know the story, have seen the movies, for those of you who don't, I'll give you an idea of what we were doing. So they dropped us in at 9,000 feet, landed in a snowbank. We had to go 4 miles to our target. Took us about 8.5 hours to get there. Found the target, set up shop. All right. My team, for those of you who aren't familiar, our primary sniper and point man, his name was Matt Axelson. He went through training with my brother. They were best friends. I refer to him as Axe. Okay. Behind him was Mike Murphy. He was our officer in charge. He was my best friend in the teams. I mean, I loved him to death. I never told him I loved him while he was alive, because guys don't do that. But I'll see him again one day. I'll tell him that I love him. And then behind him was Danny Dees. Danny was our communicator. He was our link to the world. And I was behind him. I was a team leader in rear security. That was our team. It was always our team. We set up shop and started doing our business. And for those of you who have seen the film, it was reversed. And I'm not sure why they did that. But in real life, the shepherds walked on us first, and then the goats came up. All right? The first shepherd walked right over the top of me. I was laid up under a big old tree that had been chopped down. We think we're in a logging area because most of the bigger trees have been cultivated and chopped down and burned up. One way Afghanis make money is they're loggers. So, oh man, that got my attention real fast. I mean real fast. I'm not going to say I was scared. I don't get scared, but I had to check my shorts. I kind of thought, when I came up with my rifle to engage this guy, he had no idea I was there. I could tell by the look on his face. They had a big, long beard. Somebody has one of those, you want to get their attention? Jerk on it a little bit. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. So I rolled him up and drug him over to where Danny was. And I was like, get out of the way, I'm going to interrogate this guy. I was trying to tell him that I wasn't going to kill him. And the guy, literally I was trying to tell him I wasn't going to kill him. But you can bet most SEALs, we don't pay attention in language class because we don't care what language you speak. By the time y'all send us over there, all that's done. Talking's done, man. Everybody understands what this means. If you don't, you will. Most of the stuff we learn is to scare them, get their attention. My favorite phrase when I was over there was, Allah sent me and there ain't no way in hell you're getting out of this. So, it's kind of one of them deals. We have our faces painted up all sadistic and cat-eye contacts and vampire. I probably shouldn't be telling you all this, but anyways. About 5 minutes later, the other two came up the mountain. Another adult male, somewhere between the ages of 20 and 90. I have no idea how old they are. And a kid. And he was about 12 to 14. That's your fighting age male right there. We sit beside him. Turn your back on a 12-year-old boy over there, and he'll let you know about it. After that is when the goats came up the mountain. About 80 of them, probably. Best guesstimation. And that changed the whole dynamic of everything. Those goats don't wait on the shepherds. That's the reason why we turn them loose. They just keep going. Go back down in the village, show up down there, no shepherds. Village comes back looking for them, strapped up. If anything seems out of place, the guy we've been chasing for 2 years is gone. Over into Pakistan. Mission first, mission priority. That's our job. No questions asked. So we turned them loose. They were gone in a shot. We relocated, and then about an hour later is when that militia walked on top of us. First guy I saw had an RPG over each shoulder, an AK-47. There's probably 30 or 40 guys right on the top, but we were right underneath the crest of the mountain, about 30 feet. Right on the crest of the mountain was 30 or 40 guys, and then coming down each ridgeline was a dozen or so guys. And I initiated the whole thing. The guy pulled his head around a tree. He had a black shroud on his head and an AK muzzle. And I waited, and as soon as I threw my weapon on fire, he pulled his head back around the tree. I looked down at Mikey, he was right underneath me, straight underneath me. I just rolled my boots around. I told him, I said, get back on the clock, we're fixing to get it on. That's exactly what I said to him. I turned back around and waited. Eventually that guy pulled his head around the tree again, and when he did, I shot him right in the forehead and dumped him. And when I dumped him, it unleashed hell on our left flank. I've been in a lot of gunfights. Nothing like that. Man, it was loud. The first place I got hit was in my weapon, right in the mag, actually. When I dropped my magazine to load another one, I looked down at Mike, he was giving me the signal to fall back. I kept my pack wrapped around my calf. When I reached down to grab my pack, the little shelf, the little ledge I was standing in, it crumbled, fell apart. I slid right out of it. And I'm pretty sure my foot hit a tree root. That's what stopped me from sliding. But it also pushed my chest up over my hips, and I flipped. And for those of you who know this story, this is when the fall started. I hit Mikey, and we both started pinballing through, we were in a grove of trees, actually. We pinballed through that for about 150 yards. Broke through that, started to flip, and hit the rocks below. And I broke my back real bad, and my pelvis. and Mikey landed on his face. You can tell by the way he crushed his face. Well, that's when the fight started, and then it was on. To put it into perspective for you, that movie's 2 hours long, maybe. The gunfight in real life was over 3 hours. That's how long it took to kill us. About an hour and a half into it, I was dragging Danny. Both his femurs were broken. He had a compound fracture on one of his tip fibs. One of his lungs had been dropped and had been shot 4 times that I know of. And I actually picked him up over my shoulder to fireman carry him 6 or 7 times, but I'd fall on top of him because the mountain was too steep. And I know I broke a lot of his ribs. I mean, it was bad. But when I picked him up to take a fall one time, I spun around, and when I did, I spun him into a bullet and shot him in the back of the head and killed him right then and there. Well, I wasn't ready for his dead weight. There's a difference. I flipped out from underneath it, and my face hit a rock, and I broke my nose real bad, and I bit my tongue in half, and I swallowed it. Well, that completely incapacitated me. I was on all fours, kind of trying to choke it out, and I got it out. Some stuff happened with me and Danny. He was dead. But then I made it down the mountain. Towards the end of the gunfight, I was firing laterally at a group of guys, and Axe walked out from behind this boulder. I almost shot him. I didn't even know he was there. He wasn't firing his weapon. He was walking. He walked right past me and sat down Indian style and leaned against my right hip. The ground was on fire real bad on most of the mountainside now. And he had his hands in his, holding his face together. And he's like, "Hey bro, I'm sorry man, I can't help you. I'm blind." He shot me in the face. In the movie, they had him hit back here. In real life, he was shot right here in the temple. And it had taken all that off. So I don't even know how he was alive, really. But he was just like, "I can't help you, man, I'm sorry." His jaw had been dislocated. He was hanging on his thing. It was bad. But I was like, "Get out of here." When I turned around to get some cover fire, Mikey was out on this boulder with our satellite phone. And he got shot in the chest and in the gut, flipped him. He sat up, and they shot him in between the shoulder blades, dropped him on his face. Well, this bothered me real bad. I mean, he was my best friend. I slung my weapon. I tried to get to him. The problem was, once you fell a certain distance, you couldn't get back up the way you came. It's too steep. We tried hundreds of times. He crawled left and went behind this embankment. I could hear his weapon go off. I had turned around and sitting on my boots trying to reload my weapon. And he started screaming my name. I'll never forget it. He started screaming my name. It was bad. I actually put my weapon down over my legs and covered my ears because I couldn't stand to hear him die. I mean, basically, they killed him. He died right there, but I snapped, man. They snapped my cord. I couldn't believe it either. I mean, they say every man has his breaking point. To break a Navy SEAL, you have to kill us. But I snapped right there like some punk, man. I couldn't take it. I don't know what happened. I mean, it's not like I never heard anybody die before. But I got shot out of, they killed him. I shot out of there. I caught up with Axe. He's a couple of 100 yards below me. I crawled under this rock embankment. There's a stream running around, an overhang, 2 logs leaning against it. And I was under there with him. He'd taken an abdominal dress and tried to pull his face together. I was trying to punch 2 holes in it. And I told him, I was like, we're gonna die. We're gonna die right now. And like I said earlier, I made my peace with God a long time ago about dying. I'm not afraid of it. But it's a weird feeling when the Reaper's at the door. Normally we don't know. You go out and you do your thing, they shut your light off. I hope nobody ever has to feel that. It's weird. Anyways, an RPG hit behind him. He took the brunt of it, blew him over the top of me, folded me over backwards. And when I leaned to push him up, another one hit and blew us out of there and separated us. I went one way, he went another. I never saw him again for the rest of my life, not ever, not one time. It knocked me out again. That's one thing they didn't put in the movie, is how many times we were knocked out during the fight. 6 times myself that I know about. So, I mean, you're talking about tucking your brain back in your face. Normally you get knocked out once in a lifetime. But, I mean, I had fragged from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. I'd been shot, my back was broke, my pelvis, all my med gear, maps, GPS, compass. I was almost naked. All that stuff had been ripped and blown off of me. Well, I just rolled over and started pulling myself, and I took a bunch of dirt and sand and stuck it into all my open wounds, and so I wouldn't bleed to death. And I buried myself in a shallow grave, and I didn't move another inch all day. I didn't even take a full breath. I specifically told myself not to do that. Don't take a full breath. Because they were walking over the top of me. They knew they were missing somebody. And towards the end of the day, I was scared. I was afraid. There's a difference between having fear and being afraid. Having fear makes you sharp. Makes you do things you normally couldn't think you could do. Being afraid will cripple you, stop you in your tracks. You really shouldn't be afraid of anything, but I was afraid. I was afraid. I don't know what was going on. But Towards the end of the day, I could feel my toes. I uncovered myself. I rolled my rifle up to clear my area, and in the distance, I could see a guy sitting against a rock, had a silver AK in his lap, and the sun was pinging off of it. That's how I spotted him. I took 2 shots at him and missed him, and on the 3rd one, I hit him in the guts, and he fell. And it was a hunter-killer team. 2 other guys came running over and hit on my side of the rock, facing the same direction I was. And I shot those 2 guys in the back, and they fell to their death, I guess. I don't know. Normally, you're not supposed to shoot people in the back, but I was having a pretty bad day, so whatever. Well, the sun went down, and in the film, they had Wahlberg lay up. He was laid up all night. I didn't lay up. I crawled all night. This is the longest night of my life, man. I knocked myself out a couple more times. I was so thirsty, it was driving me insane. I never experienced insanity before. You hear about people that say he's insane. I know what that means. Because I was doing everything I could do to get water. I was digging in the ground, breaking branches. I worked up a good sweat in my sock. I'd urinate into it. I'd wring that out in my mouth. Nothing would quench my thirst. Nothing. The sun was coming up. I was holding on to a tree. I was trying to work my way down this hill, and about 35 feet. And I don't know if they found me that morning or if they'd been trailing me all night, but I felt it before I heard it. They were right on top of me. And I got shot in the back. Turned me into a gainer. I rolled down this hill, landed on my face, knocked me out again. They thought I was dead. So when I rolled over the hill I had fallen off of, there's a guy standing up there pointing at me and screaming at me. And then 2 guys with AKs on my right flank just started laying lead on me. Well, nothing worked from my chest down. So I just threw my weapon in the crease of my elbow and started pulling myself up the hills. And I would toss myself off the back side of them. That's how I was faster than they were. And we played that cat and mouse game for about 3 hilltops before I'd had enough of it. And I spun around, dropped my bipod down, and waited. And that spotter, he was chasing me hilltop for hilltop. I let him walk right into me. Into this stage. I shot him right in the teeth. And then the other 2 guys, their high ground turned into my level ground. And I had a frag left. I let him walk up on top of me, and I dumped that frag on. That was it. Well, I was in bad shape, man. I was dying. I knew it. I just couldn't lay down there and die like some punk. So I grabbed a rock, and I reached out as far as I could in front of me, and I drew a line in the dirt. This old Billy talking to me kind of deal. I was like, I'm going to crawl to that till my feet hit it. And if I'm still alive, I'm going to do it again. So that's what I did. I'd draw a line, crawl to it, fall down a hill, crawl up another hill, I'd draw another line. I did that for 7 miles, and I found a waterfall. I'll write this down, this doesn't work. I tried to slide down into it, and I just took off, and I rotated, and took flight, landed in the river. My head hit the riverbank, and my knees hit me in the face and knocked me out again, split my head open. I came to, I was laid over the backside of this dirt mound, and all I wanted was some water. That's it. I get thirsty just talking about it. I was all right with dying. I just didn't want to die thirsty. I was like, I know I'm going to hell. They don't have water there, so I'm gonna get as much as I can before I go down there. So you gotta have humor in chaos. That's the only way you can get through this stuff. I got 2 sips out of that waterfall before I heard somebody screaming at me over my left shoulder. And there's Americans, what they were saying. American, American. And I spun around on this guy. I had my gun in my hip. I didn't even have to bring it to my shoulder. And this is where, for those of you who know the story, this is where I met Gulag and the rest of the villagers. I could see the sand and dirt in his beard. That's how close he was to me. And he was screaming at me, like I said, American, American. I don't know why I didn't kill him. I don't know why I didn't kill him. And he's been to visit me multiple times. We talked on the phone, and we talked about this part a few times. I'm like, man, I don't know why I didn't kill you, man. And he's like, well, I don't know why I let you live. I was like, well, hell, we don't want to talk about that. I mean, I'm the one that brought it up. I was talking about it. You didn't talk about it. But he started walking at me. He's like, American, okay, okay. And the 2 English words he knew was shampoo and hydrate. Don't ask me where that came from either. Because he was shampoo, hydrate, shampoo, hydrate. And he lifted up his man jammies to show me he didn't have a weapon. And I was like, shampoo, hydrate? What are you talking about, man? I was like, I can use some water if you got it, but I don't need a hair wash. And that 4 guys picked me up, carried me down into their village, gave me all the water I could drink, and stripped me naked, and started pulling all the frag out of my body. Dr. Mill, I had one that was sticking in my shin, out of my shin bone. And they went to jerking on that, boy, I passed out. It hurt. And when I came to, I was dressed up in a set of those man jammies, complete with hat. I had a beard down to here, so from a distance, I looked like a villager. If you eased up on top of me, there's no mistaking what I was. And I was in this room for about an hour, I guess, and the door kicked open, Taliban flooded the room. And I knew who they were immediately. You hunt something long enough, you know what it is when it's staring you right in the face. I mean, plus they spoke English like we're the Taliban. I was like, oh yeah, no, got that. But I don't talk about that. You can use your imagination. What happened? It's pretty interesting. I just flipped the switch, went to the dark place. That's the one thing they train us and teach us, man. When it's time to go to work, you flip the switch. You can do anything you want to me, man. I can take it. They had me all day, all night into the next morning. They had left to negotiate for my head, to cut my head off with the village elders. And then the door kicked open, I was laying on the ground. And I rolled over to one of the villagers, I was like, they coming to cut my head off? And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right. And then 3 more came in there and picked me up and carried me out of that room, down the mountain, and stuck me in a hole head first. Left me there for 27 hours. I didn't like that too much. I didn't like being isolated like that. I didn't have my weapon. I had no idea. I was stuff blowing up, people screaming. I was like, man, this is stressful. And then they came and got me, and then for the next 4.5 days, they moved me around that village strategically, because the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, they worked together after I had circled it. I'd be in a room somewhere, and the wall would blow up, or a bullet would zip through the wall. Those villagers would come in there and pick me up and carry me somewhere else. It took me about 2 days to figure out what was going on, that they were willing to sacrifice everybody in the village to keep me alive because they said they would. It's an honor code. And I grew up, man, I thought I knew what honor was, integrity, an honorable man. Basically, all we have as men is your word. You give your word, you keep it. If you don't give your word, you're no man. Period. And no more kids need to die. No more women need to get beat up because I'm out here. Put me on the doorstep and shut the door. He's like, no, we said we keep you alive. We're going to do it. I couldn't believe it. I learned so much about myself then, and I actually apologize. I never say I'm sorry, because I don't do things I don't mean to do. I don't say anything I don't mean to say. When I was in a room with 3 or 4 guys, a big storm had hit. And the way it worked is, I told you what I am, I'm gunfighter. When the towers fell, I was somewhere, this lady was passing out pictures of her daughter. She died in the Twin Towers. She was handing them out to some Marines. I wasn't in uniform. She had no idea what I was. But all she said to me was, make this right. And I still have the picture. It's barely legible, but I still have it. And on the back of it, I wrote, no mercy. And I laminated, I would keep it in my chest pocket on all my deployments. And before any operation, when I was jocked up, face painted up, all sadistic, I'd sit on the edge of my bed and stare at her and imagine her dying. Because I have a real problem with people who are women. Real problem. I gotta go out of my way to kill you if I see that. So, it's just my thing. I don't know what it is, but I would just imagine her in pain. And good Lord, man, I'd worked myself into such a rage that when I went out there, when I put a bullet into you, that was the nicest thing I did to you. You need to pray to God I didn't get my hands on you, because I just didn't care. And when they had me, and all that was going down, I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for some of the stuff I did out here, because I didn't really care about anybody out here. You're all bad to me. Matter of fact, if you take anything away from what I said up here, David, I've been through in my life a lot of stuff. It's kind of a blessing and a curse being part of Operation Red Wing, because this is one operation I did in hundreds. A lot of them were worse than Red Wing, just not as many people died. Was it, man, don't ever make the mistake of misjudging somebody when you first meet them just because of the way they look. Because that color, religion, creed, that doesn't mean anything. You're either a man or you're not. You're either a woman or you're not. Respect, it's funny because people meet people and you hear people like, oh, he didn't respect, show me some respect. I don't show you anything, man. It's called human decency when I first meet you. But if you want my respect, you're going to have to earn it. I don't hand it out. And when I was in there, I was like, man, I can't believe you're doing this, man. That's the ultimate test of honor, just to die because you said you would. Army found me that night on that 5th day. They moved me down to a riverbed. And they were carrying me up the side of this ravine. I heard my name in English. They had me draped up like this. I lifted my head up. These 2 Army Rangers came around this rock embankment. I remember that guy grabbed me. I never hugged a man like that. I was like, get in here, boy. He's probably like a Navy guy. Woo. Get off me. I was like, come on, let's get weird. And don't think in about 3 minutes that the jokes didn't start flying for me having to get rescued by the Army. I was like, come on, let me have it. Because I've had my butt rescued more times by the Marine Corps and the Army than I can even count. It's one team, one fight. I mean, you hear us military guys joking back and forth and jabbing at each other, that builds camaraderie. That's what that is. I mean, don't be a civilian and try and do that. It ain't gonna work out well for you. But with us, it's kind of a ultimate test of one's loyalty is dying for each other. And the first time one of our guys jumped on a grenade and got killed just to save the rest of us is when I saw how far you could take friendship, the brotherhood. It was amazing. And then later that night, the Air Force came in and had to rescue all of us. So it was a big deal. Air Force guys, we love y'all. And then we dumped off the side of the mountain. They took me to Bagram Air Force Base. And when I was in the hospital, getting doctored up, that's when I found out about the helicopter crash. Mikey got that sat phone call, and the rest of my platoon came in to rescue us. A 12-year-old boy sent an RPG into the back of it, blew it out of the sky. That killed 16 guys right there. I didn't know that. It happened right on top of the mountain we were fighting on. That's how loud it was. We couldn't hear a helo getting blown out of the sky. So, yeah, 19 guys died that day. But I was in the hospital for a while. Surgeries, putting myself back together so I could get back on the line. Then I went back into Iraq in 06, 07, into the Anbar province, Ramadi, which is the worst place I've ever been in my entire life. But I did it because that's what I was. That's what I am. I mean, just because I got my butt kicked doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing that. Firefighters don't stop being a fireman when they make a bad fire. If you know that's what you are, you just keep doing it until they tell you to stop. And I got my knees blown out on a raid, and it cost me my career. And I remember the hardest thing I ever had to face in my entire life was the day that my own community told me that I was more of a liability than I was an asset because of my physical injuries. As mentally, I don't have a problem. I mean, I was a psychopath anyways, but SEALs, we don't really suffer from PTSD. We don't have that problem. I'm not saying it's not real, but we don't suffer from that. And I didn't like that too much. I was like, what do you want me to do, man? I mean, my whole life, people told me that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish this or do that. That's another thing I can tell you, man. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't accomplish. If nobody has any idea what's boiling down inside of you, you're the only one that puts limitations on yourself, period. How smart you get, how strong you get, how fast you get, that's all on you. And if you don't believe that, then you're hanging around the wrong people and they're filling your head full of nonsense. Because you're only limited by yourself, man. So I just didn't know what to do. And the time I realized that I was having some problems wasn't, like I said, from the mental PTSD. It's when they separated me from my guys, is when that hole was created in my body, kind of deal, my soul. Because when you walk through hell with guys for 10 years and they jerk you away from them, it can't be replaced. I mean, it's just who you are. And I remember and I only realized that when I was back with my friends for the first time, and I actually had gotten married. People ask me what I'm doing now. I met my wife. It's true what they say. We can't live without you, ladies. Y'all are a stronger species. I mean, it's straight up fact. Because I never thought for a second I was going to be married. Morgan and I never thought we'd live to see 40. I mean, I had a lot of fun chasing y'all, so there's no way I was going to be like one woman. What are you talking about? But when I met my wife, it was on a blind date, actually. And I saw her, she lifted her head up and smiled at me, and everything shifted, man. I was like, what's that pain? What is that? What? And then I asked her to marry me that night. And I married her shortly after that. We've been married 5 years. Been in 2 arguments. Both of them were my fault. Pretty quick learner. So, and I have my son, Axe, and I'm raising him to be a man. He's a piece of cake. Each day, be a man, you won't bust your ass. My daughter, Adelaide, she's 2. I don't have any idea what to do with her. Because, like I said, I've never raised my voice to a woman. I tell her to do something, she's like, no. I'm like, oh, what? Honey, gotta get here. Excuse my language, I'm sorry, that slipped out. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, I've talked to people, and they're like, oh, you're a SEAL, man, you're gonna be a great dad and a great husband. I'm like, what book did you read? I mean, nothing. I mean, I just try the best I can at it. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, my son levels me about once a day with some reality. It's amazing what they can come up with at that age. Today's his birthday, actually. He's turning 4, so I enjoyed being here with you guys, but I'm going to enjoy getting back and seeing him for his birthday. But just to close this up, like I said, I don't have anything I can deliver to you, man. I can't change your life, all right? I mean, if I give you some perspective on how I was brought up and what I went through, like, I never had an S on my chest. I didn't have a cape, a lightsaber, or anything like that, man. I refused to stay down. That's what I learned my whole life. Just don't ever stay down. Just never quit anything, man. Just keep getting back up, because eventually one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to kill you, and you're going to die trying, or you're just going to get over whatever it is you're trying to get over. And then you move on to the next one. Just keep pushing forward. So thank y'all for having me out here. God bless.